You were always told to just stand on your own 2 feet. Nobody is ever coming to save you, so figure it out yourself. This is the quiet lesson baked deeply into every American childhood memory. Ask for help, and something inside you flinches with sudden, immediate shame. You apologize before even admitting you cannot carry this heavy weight alone. Rugged individualism sounds like strength, but it often hides quiet, deep exhaustion. It tells you that needing people means you are somehow broken inside, so you smile through burnout and just call it simply personal responsibility. You praise the self made man while ignoring who actually built him. Every hero in your movies works alone against impossible, overwhelming dark odds. Real life rarely works that way, yet you believe the myth anyway. You moved cities chasing independence and lost your entire support system overnight. Now you eat dinner alone and call it healthy personal boundaries again. Therapy became popular because community quietly disappeared from everyday modern American life. Your grandparents had neighbors who always noticed when something felt slightly wrong. You have followers who notice nothing because algorithms only reward performed confidence. You were taught that crying at work looks weak and unprofessional forever. So you cried in your car instead, engine running, radio playing loud. Asking your neighbor for sugar now feels stranger than asking a stranger. We built houses with privacy fences and called it protecting our freedom. We built lives with no witnesses and called it protecting our dignity. Individualism promised total freedom but delivered a strange and heavy invisible cage. You can do anything alone, they said, forgetting humans never actually could. Even lone cowboys needed horses, trails, towns, and someone waiting back home. The myth erased the ranch hands, the wives, the entire quiet community. You inherited that erasure and now feel guilty needing anyone at all. Depression rates climb while self-reliance gets celebrated on every motivational poster. Loneliness is called an epidemic, yet independence is still called a virtue. Nobody ever connects those two facts because admitting it threatens something sacred. Success stories always star one person, never the invisible network behind them. You built a business alone, forgetting every mentor who quietly guided you. You raised your children alone, refusing help because help felt like failure. Somewhere you learned that vulnerability always equals weakness equals eventual total abandonment. So you built walls instead of relationships, calling that isolation healthy independence. Your ancestors survived brutal winters through cooperation, not through solitary heroic struggle. Somewhere between then and now, the entire story quietly got rewritten completely. Individual achievement quietly became the only story worth telling in American culture. Community support slowly became invisible background noise that nobody bothered mentioning anymore. You feel proud saying, "I did this myself," entirely without any help. That pride is real, but so is the crushing hidden loneliness beneath. Studies clearly show isolated individuals have shorter lifespans than deeply connected ones. Your body needs connection like it needs food, water, sleep, and air. Yet you were taught connection is optional, something extra, not truly essential. This belief quietly costs you years of your actual measurable physical life. Rugged individualism is highly profitable for systems that benefit from your isolation. An isolated person simply buys more, complains less, and organizes almost never. A connected community actively demands change, shares resources, and questions unfair systems. So, isolation gets marketed to you as freedom, strength, and personal growth. You buy the single serving size and call it convenient modern living. You buy the home gym instead of joining any local community class. Every purchase reinforces the story that you need absolutely nobody else ever. Meanwhile, corporations profit from your isolation while praising your total independence loudly. This is not an accident. This is a carefully designed cultural pattern. Notice how self-help books rarely mention rebuilding actual human community ties. They mention mindset, discipline, hustle, but rarely mention calling an old friend. Because calling a friend cannot be sold as easily as another course. Your loneliness is not a personal failure. It is a systemic outcome. You did not choose isolation. You were slowly trained into accepting it. Every move away from family was framed as ambitious personal career growth. Every boundary against community was quietly framed as healthy psychological self-protection. Some boundaries matter, but total isolation was never actually meant to protect. It was meant to keep you dependent on products instead of people. Recognizing this pattern is the first real step toward genuine psychological freedom. You can value independence without ever rejecting every form of human interdependence. Strength is not doing everything alone. Strength is knowing when to ask. Asking for help is not weakness, it is basic human evolutionary wisdom. Humans survived because they cooperated, shared food, and protected each other fiercely. Your nervous system still expects that same ancient cooperative human structure today. When it does not receive that structure, your body responds with anxiety. That anxiety is not irrational. It is an ancient, accurate biological alarm. It's telling you that isolation is dangerous, not simply uncomfortable temporarily. Start small by calling someone instead of texting them another quick emoji. Start small by asking a coworker for genuine help on one task. Start small by admitting out loud that today felt honestly quite hard. Vulnerability shared correctly always builds trust. It does not destroy your reputation. The people worth keeping will lean in closer, not walk away distant. The people who mock vulnerability were never truly safe people anyway, honestly. Rebuild small rituals, shared meals, regular calls, walks with actual real neighbors. Community is not built through big gestures, but consistent small daily ones. Join something local, even if it feels awkward and uncomfortable at first. Awkwardness always fades, but isolation only compounds itself deeper year after year. You do not need to abandon independence, only rebalance it with connection. Independence and community are not opposites, they were always meant to coexist. The strongest individuals throughout history were embedded in strong, supportive communities always. Stop measuring your entire worth by how little help you actually needed. Start measuring your worth by how honestly you show up for others. This shift will not happen overnight, but it starts with one conversation. Real strength honestly admits it needs other people to stay truly whole. You are always allowed to want closeness without calling it a weakness. Text someone today and simply say you've been thinking about them. Let this be the moment you stop performing and start seeking connection. This video exists because someone once quietly reminded me that connection matters. If this resonated with you, share it with someone who feels alone. Comment below and tell us who you plan to reach out to. Subscribe if you want more videos exploring the psychology of modern life. Healing does not mean isolation. It means rebuilding real human connection again. Choose one small brave action today instead of staying comfortably numb alone. So today, simply choose connection over isolation and choose people over performance, because you were never meant to carry every single thing completely alone. And needing people was never actually the flaw you believed it was.